Ethan from the H3H3 podcast and Hasanabi are having a spat, a little bit of a beef. They've been having a spat or a beef for quite some times because they were having a podcast that they called Leftovers. And when this initially happened, I didn't like Hasanabi. I didn't like him at all. As a matter of fact, I was famous for saying that, oh, they definitely should have been separating their entire audiences because Hasanabi's audience, guess what, was having a horrible, and I mean horrible attack on Ethan. I thought that was a little bit ridiculous because I didn't really grasp what that was. Now, Ethan in itself, I don't like Ethan that much. I truly don't. I'm not really a fan of either of these people, and I never will be. Ignoring the personalities, they're arguing between Israel and Palestine, a topic that I have avoided the entire time I've made my channel. As a matter of fact, I avoid this topic like the plague. And a lot of people will come into my streams and they'll ask me, they'll say, how do you feel about the entire situation? And I hate to center this on me for a moment, but I will answer that question in just a moment. I will answer in just a moment. Firstly, let's talk about the videos I made, particularly about Hasanabi. This man. So, Hasanabi shouldn't be famous. I made this 8 months ago. 8 months ago, I stated Hasanabi should not be famous. This is at my old apartment. I stated this. I said he shouldn't be famous. He had a equal like to dislike ratio. I even liked my own video to circumvent it, but the comments were filled with people calling me a piece of garbage. I didn't know what I was talking about. They said that I was trash. It was this whole thing. Because at this point, they didn't know this. I had actually watched 200 some odd hours of him and had been banned in his chat 5 times. I didn't state that in the video. They told me to watch his videos and to come back with a more heightened perspective of everything because I didn't know what I was talking about. So, I think it's just because of the title. Because in the video, I had stated all my points and done that because most people read the title, and people that love this streamer, Hasanabi, they deeply, deeply don't want to hear anything bad about him. So, I made a second video called The Undeserved Hate of Hasanabi. This video did better with likes and dislikes. I think a few more people watched it more than anything. And people were rightfully still just angry at me. I grasped that, and I explained that you guys are still mean as high hell though. I'm not changing my opinion on that. And then I did the streaming and working thing. It was a whole little big issue there. So those are my views on him going into everything. I had made a PowerPoint presentation discussing how I felt about him as well, and I will go through that PowerPoint presentation right now. Socialist Hasanabi. This is important. These are the good points about him. I don't think he's perfect, but he has by far one large audience in the West for Marxism. I don't agree with him on everything, but he really discusses things like the labor theory of value, material conditions, and a lot of other concepts that most people in the West never hear about. I think he is a force for good for getting people into Marxism and getting people into socialism. I think he's great on that. I think he's good for showing empathy when some large event isn't going on. I think he's a good avenue for that. I will agree to that. As a matter of fact, he's a perfect start to equality. Good entry point. I think he is great at speaking when he's not debating against somebody. I think he's good looking, and that allows people to see him and say, wow, he's really good looking, and I like him because he's hot. I think a lot of people are around him because he's 6'3", 6'4", and attractive. He's very beautiful. He's a very beautiful human. I believe that without a shadow of a doubt. I think he's a positive force. He's responsible for thousands of people entering a thought of leftist thought. I think that is nice. That's just more empathy. I know a lot of people in my audience that are on the right will disagree. Agree with his takes or not. He has a level of understanding of leftist theory that is good. I'm saying he's a net positive to get out of the right-wing pipeline or to push people further into the right-wing pipeline because nobody ever talks about this. And I'm going to talk about this right now. If you constantly get angry at people for being white or their whiteness, and if you deeply hate people just because of how they're born and they don't have anything control over it, you will push them into white radicalism and white supremacy. You will do that. That is what will happen. And I say this as somebody that's not deeply political. I say this as somebody that has witnessed my friends hate their whiteness, hate the fact that they're born white, and naturally be pushed into being more right-wing because the left people will make them hate themselves for white guilt. They just make them hate themselves for white guilt. That's very important. Just want to talk about that right now. Because everybody talks about the positive forces. Nobody talks about the negative forces. Now, he is not kind if you disagree with him. This was the entire thing with the Willie Mack show, which was a horrible debate on Hassan's side. I've watched a lot of Hasanabi's debates. They're horrible. They're just very bad. They're very, very bad. And then the boycotting Coke Zero and Pepsi, he did it in public. Like, hey, we got to boycott Coke Zero and Pepsi. And he says, I don't want to. In public, he's wildly different. He's a wildly different human in public. And that's fair and understandable. And I get it. I know what it's like. Now, at the time I made the videos about him, people were saying a lot of statements about, I have no idea what it's like to have that many people in my chat and stuff like that. I'll get to that in a moment. So, I'm not going to do that. So, I'm not going to do that one either. So, how many times did he say something concerning while I was watching him stream? 67. A lot of people say he's clipped out of context a lot. I have full context, and I counted 67 times he said something wildly concerning or backpedaled and backtracked when his audience didn't agree with him and proceeded to say they are genocide apologists, they are Zionists, they don't understand what he's saying, when he made it clear what he was saying, very clear what he was saying, without any room for misconstruing. 67 times. Now, do I have every instance documented? That'd be crazy. Could you imagine? I went through slides, it's all 67. No, I don't want this video to be incredibly long. I didn't clip everything he said. That would be ridiculous. I'm not a psychopath. But I did count 67 times in the span of me watching the 200 hours prior to me making the entire initial PowerPoint. I still think he's dangerous. He is a terrible debater. He doesn't listen if you don't agree. If I have to do his research to prove he is good, then okay. If I have to do all this research to prove he is good, then that defeats the purpose. That's important. If I have to do all this research to prove that he's good, I did a lot of research to prove that he was at least decent. That defeats the purpose of everything. That defeats the entire purpose of him as a human being. Why am I bringing up all this stuff when I'm talking about the debate? This will get, I'll promise you this will get in a moment. A lot can be taken out of context. Kai Cenat, I Show Speed, even Mr. Beast gets hate. I want to point this out. This is a radical opinion. I think if you do enough things for a long time and have a big enough audience, people will hate you for anything. My issue is the only content I see is him being clipped out of context, and I'm trying to find good points. If the only content you see from somebody is them being clipped out of context, the average public perception is going to be what they are, even if they are a good person. If they keep saying radical, psychotic, crazy things, if you keep getting them out of context, that's what it's going to be. I'm stupid. This is very important. This is a very important thing about me getting into this. If I'm dumb, if I'm an idiot, and I'm trying to do all this work, and I'm initially getting stuff, then that's a big issue. I'm not dumb in the don't blame me way. I should do research, but I'm the stupid customer. I'm the person you have to convince that your guy is a good guy. That's why I'm the idiot. I'm the average consumer. I'm the person that says, oh, this person looks bad, I don't like him. And now if you yell at me, if you get mad at me because I disagree with you, you are now going to push me further away from you, because if you are not doing radicalism, you are not doing activism by being mad at me. I want to point this out. You are not doing activism by interacting with me in a negative way and trying to punish and demean me for disagreeing with you. You have to come at me with kindness and patience, because I'm coming at you with kindness and patience. If I was coming at you with anger and vitriol, and you respond with anger and vitriol, then you're obviously a child because you're fighting fire with fire. But I think that you should approach things, if you want to convince somebody of your point, with kindness, because most people react better to kindness even if they are angry. That's generally how it operates. Be a calming force in the world of pure anger, because that's how you should operate. That's what I was not getting. Now, this is about the speaking to thousands of people every day. I do. At the time, I had almost 300,000 followers on TikTok 8 months ago when I made that video. When I made this whole thing. And now I have almost 500,000. I have 493,000. And every day I talk to hundreds of people, thousands of people. Now you're probably going to say, well, your streams aren't as big as his. On TikTok they are. And on TikTok they're way worse than Twitch. Oh, they're way worse. They have no goddamn sense over there. They really don't. This was a minute ago. This was my older channel. This isn't my channel now. Cyril's TV. I think Cyril's TV. In conclusion, this is my entire thought process where I get into the bigger wealth of the video. I think he is charismatic, left his voice for the people that want a figurehead. He was someone that wants equality and cares for a little guy. I think he is a fun guy that's entertaining, but he is not a kind person at all. I think he's fun. I think he wants to be good. I think he likes the idea of goodness, but he is not kind at all. That was my entire thoughts on him. That was all the videos, all that jazz. Now, why did I bring up all this stuff before I want to talk about this? It's going to be chaptered, by the way. And now we're going to talk about Ethan. These two have been having beef by virtue of his audience attacking him. Ethan was attacked by Hasanabi's audience. Why did that happen? That happened because everybody was saying Ethan was an Israeli sympathizer. He was evil for sympathizing with these evil, disgusting, horrible people. Now, the beef that is currently going on with these two lovely, lovely people is by virtue of this very long video that was 2 hours long that H3H3 released 7 hours ago at the time of recording this video. Now you can see the dislikes. I have my dislike thing on. I'm going to like the video. You're probably going to get my idea of how I feel about the video by that. This video points out a large amount of horrifyingly evil things that Hasanabi has done. This isn't about a personal spat. This is about something even deeper than that. This is about the horrifying misconduct and miscrediting that Hasanabi does, Hassan Piker, that he does over and over again. This is about what I was talking about in the PowerPoint that I just showed you. If you're watching this by chapters, you probably didn't watch it. I just want to point that out right now. This is about the entirety of it. And I watched this 3 times, just so I didn't get anything misconstrued. I watched it 3 times. Why did I watch it 3 times? Very important why I watched it 3 times. Watched the first time with 2 times speed because I didn't want to sit through it. Watched the second time with 1.5 times speed because I didn't want to sit through it. Then I finally sat down and said, you know what? I'm going to watch this regular speed and absorb every piece of content. 2 parts that I highlighted that I want to point out right here, and I comment to them now, is about right here. This is important. This is very important. Listen to this. He just got done saying, in essence, that the person he brought on stream was not from a terrorist organization. He said, hey, you know, the guy wasn't from a terrorist organization. And then he said this.
Houthi rebel on stream? Yes, brother. What do you mean?
He's going to bring a Houthi rebel on stream. That's what he said. He's going to bring a Houthi rebel on stream. He said, and I quote,
have a Houthi rebel on stream? Yes, brother. What do you mean?
Yes, he specifically stated that. And this is, I want to point it out. These are not him being clipped out of context because I've watched the full streams. Usually people will do these things, you know, clip people out of context, and it agitates me because they don't get the full context of the clips. These are full context clips. These are all the context you need. And another piece of beautiful information was the specific terrorist that he brought on stream was all the guys. I don't want to keep saying call him terrorists. I apologize. This man, the person who was going on and doing this, every Zionist, so I put his foot in your stomach, had made horrifying posts about how he feels about everything. Now, this is the part I'm pretty sure you guys have been very curious about, and this is probably going to be its own little part. How do I feel about the Palestinian-Israel conflict? What are my thoughts? Because a lot of you, I'm sure, are pro-Palestinian. A few of you stragglers in there are pro-Israel, I'm pretty sure. And this is very important. This is very important. I want you to listen in very carefully to me. There is no universe in which I see 2 sides to a conflict and I pick one. There's no universe how I ever do that. There's no universe where I'm going to say, oh, this is right and this is wrong. There's no world in any, and I know some psychopath's going to comment some crazy thing. How do you feel about SA? How do you feel about this? I know some psychopath is going to deeply bring that up. I know that. I know what you are. I know what you're going to bring up because you just want to get a rise out of me. There is no universe in which I see 2 conflicts to a deeply nuanced topic and pick one side. For instance, let's just use something that I'm pretty sure someone's going to bring up on me. Pro-choice versus pro-life. Pro-life was initially started because there was a fear of a loss of population in the entirety of the U.S. and the fact that they believe life begins at conception because they believe all life is precious and valuable, and they believe that a woman's role, Christian-wise, is very important to make children. That is the entire purpose of a woman in pro-life. That's what they think. That's their entire thought process. And when you argue with them, they will often say, well, what else does a woman do? Now, this is a very horrifying misogynistic view, but it's deeply rooted in Christian mythology and Christian mindset. And that makes sense for them because a lot of people, most people, are Christian. And that makes sense to them. Pro-choice is, to most people, the correct choice, is what I would say if I were lying. Pro-choice is actually the minority decision because pro-choice gives all autonomy correctly to the woman because men, while they are responsible for the sperm entry of the egg, by all means, the woman has to carry that for 9 months. That is as if you bought the ingredients for the pizza and then somebody had to put it together and cook that pizza for 9 months. And then you say, well, at least I bought the ingredients. Yes, you did buy the ingredients. However, I cooked the pizza and prepared it meticulously and cared deeply for it and made sure the pizza was delicious and made sure the pizza didn't get spoiled and ruined. That is the entirety of the entire argument. And that's still nuanced. I still don't pick on that side. But I actually do, because pro-choice, I'm not a woman. I'm just going to give it up to women. If I was a woman, I could have a deeper understanding of mine this, but I'm a man, and naturally, I just bought the ingredients for the pizza. Now, I'm not going to get that deeply into it because we're talking about Israel and Palestine, but this is important. I have researched the Israel and Palestine conflict for, I think it's been 2 years now. It's been 2 years I've been researching this. I knew about it 8 years ago, and I kept it in the back of my mind. I will never be concerned about something I am not directly affected by because I'm stupid. This is very important. This is super important. I can only be concerned about the direct tragedies that occur in my life, period. I don't have enough empathy to go around. I don't. I can't worry about every homeless person. I can't worry about what's going on in the Congo right now. I can't worry about the Ukraine and Russia war. I can't worry about everybody else getting destroyed in slavery right now. I can't worry about all the human trafficking going on right now, because you notice how I'm listing a bunch of tragedies that are going on right now. I know about them. I know what's going on. I am aware of them, but I am more concerned about my father, who has prostate cancer and just got his prostate taken out. I'm more concerned about my mother, who may be getting evicted. I'm more concerned about the exorbitant funeral costs that happened with my sister recently. I'm more concerned about the fact that I have terrifying nerve damage in my sciatic nerve because of the car crash that I just experienced, the second car crash that I've had in the past 4 months. I have to worry about the direct things that are happening to me first before I can worry about everything else. And yes, I've got a pretty okay platform. It's pretty sizable. It's medium-sized platform. And I should be bringing more awareness to all these subjects and things of that variety. I shouldn't I? Or I could just keep not doing that. I could just have fun here. I could have as much fun as I possibly could. And that's how I feel about the Palestine and Israel thing. Neither side to me are deeply correct or incorrect. I don't know. Because I've researched it and I've discovered it, and I know that genocide is evil and wrong, and I think it's messed up. I am not a Zionist. I do not believe in any of that nonsense. I don't. I think Palestine should be freed, and I think Israel is psychotic for doing that. I also think that some people on Palestine do a lot of extra stuff. I think war is disgusting. I think war is evil. I think all aspects of taking the human life is just evil. I think doing this for resources, I think doing this for land, I think doing this for holy land, for religion, I think it's disgusting. I think it's gross. That's how I feel about it. That's my mindset. I am neither. Because the way that it works is that when one side wants you to convince them, they try to dehumanize the other side. If you're pro-Palestine, you dehumanize Israel. If you're pro-Israel, you dehumanize Palestine. You can't dehumanize humans because we're still humans. And I know that's a very fence-sitter take, and I know you guys want me to choose one or the other. Come on, pick right or left. One is right and one is wrong. Pick one so I can know what you believe. You're a child. You are a literal child. Know that a tornado is not evil. A tornado is a tornado. It just is. Know that there's nuance to these topics. Know that there is many different things that you could possibly learn from each side. And there's a reason why people pick each side. It is not that one is right and one is wrong and people are being evil for the sake of being evil. That is not always the case. It is not. It is because you push people to the other side when you get angry at them. It is because you do not understand the full weight of your actions and consequences. It is because of these things that the things happen. And I never talk about this kind of stuff because I know people will misinterpret me, and I don't care anymore. Because I think Hasanabi is a threat. I think Hasanabi has always been a threat. I think he has always been deeply radical. And I don't like Ethan at all. I really don't. I don't like the H3 podcast. I'm not a fan of it at all. I think they do a lot more harm than they do good. I think they grandstand. I think they do stupid things all the time. I deeply do. I am not a fan of anything they do. However, Hassan Piker's worse. Yes, I have spoken to a few people that have spoken to Hassan Piker, and they are scared of him. They are scared they will get cast out and lambasted by him, by his horrifyingly radical audience. They are terrified of what he represents. They are terrified of what he is. They are terrified of the devastation that he could bring on their careers. They are scared of their friend, and that is not fun to be scared of somebody that you consider a friend, that you are scared that their entire existence is going to ruin your career, that you're scared to do collabs with them, that you're scared because they always are radical, that you're scared that, he'll often bring up, why are my other content creator friends bringing issues arise to this? Why are they not doing that? We should all be talking about this. They don't want to talk about it, dude. There's other things to talk about. There's more fun things. We can't continually talk about the tragedies of the world. We can't do that. I understand that silence is violence. It is. I truly believe that 100%. But I also think that there comes a point where I'm being fed nothing but tragedy, and I would like to hear about a cat being saved by a firefighter. Haven't heard a story like that in quite some time. Just haven't heard that. Haven't really heard about a cat being saved in any capacity. So I watched this video, and I picked up on every little thing they put down. I watched the Piers Morgan's interview and all this jazz. I saw this. This was horrible on the entirety of both sides. I think Piers Morgan is a great debater. I really do. I don't think he's an empathetic human. I think he's a great debater. Definitely better than Hasanabi. I truly do. And I watched this a few times over, and I'm discovering that without the rise of his streamer audience, without the thousands of people that are behind him all the time, he cracks and crumbles under pressure, and that is horrifying in most capacities. This is what happens when your echo chamber is shattered, and I'm pretty sure this video might tick off a bunch of people that love Hassan Piker, and they're probably not going to watch this entire video. They're going to see a few things I made. They might even see the PowerPoint section of this video, and they might even say, yeah, I'm a Zionist or something of that variety, that I support genocide, because that is a deflecting comment that is said countless times. It is even said in Ethan's video that is a common content strategy, as a common strategy that they do. It is said in the video, they say, oh, you support genocide, you support genocide, you support genocide. This is like a common tactic that is used. It is somewhere around this mark of the video where they commonly talk about, oh, you just talk genocide, you support genocide, you support genocide, you just support genocide, you just support genocide. You can't say that each time, right? You can't genuinely say that each time someone disagrees with you. You can't call somebody an Nazi. You can't do that. You can't continually say these things and say, well, guess what? I think that you're evil because you're not on my side. That's not real. That's not a real argument. That's not even a real statement. If someone doesn't agree with you, try to figure out why they don't agree with you. And I mean this as somebody that has talked to genuinely evil people. See, this is important. This is important to understand about my background ever so slightly. This is very important. I saw this video about Daryl Davis a while back. This is a while ago. It wasn't exactly 7 years ago I saw this, but it was before the 7-year mark. I saw this man, and I met this man. I met Daryl Davis. Why I, as a black man, attend KKK rallies. This is important. This is very, very important. He, through kindness and understanding, convinced people in the Klan to not be in the Klan. And I wanted to be him. That is all I wanted. A kindness that is so prolific and powerful that it convinces your worst enemies to be your friend. I think in the face of our unopposable oppressors, a smile is the best form of defense. And I am willing to lose my life for this. I am willing to lose my life for this mindset. I do not care if I lose my life for that mindset. I do not. I genuinely don't. And I saw, in general, that Gideon, I apologize, I don't want to say his name wrong, actively did the same thing. And I think that's beautiful. And I watched this video about 3 times, and it's a beautiful video. It's amazing. It is lovely. Why do I champion kindness even if I get no benefit from it? Because true kindness is no benefit. I do not think Hasanabi is kind. I do not think Ethan is Klein either. I don't think they're kind. I don't think they're kind people. I think they're doing this mostly for content. I think he's doing it to raise awareness. I truly do. And the reason I'm centering this back to myself is because I just want to talk about this, because this is the only way I can actually get these words out. Being kind is raising your hand and volunteering first without asking for reward. That is love. It's the only currency that functions in reverse. That's how it operates. That's always operated. And people want a reward for doing what should be basic human decency. People want this grandiose reward for it. They say, I did good things, so good things should happen to me. That's not how the real world works. If you give money to a homeless man, there is no karma. Karma does not exist. It doesn't. I can do a tremendous amount of good things, and bad things can still happen to me. That's how the real world works. I could do evil things, and great things could happen to me. Some of the most powerful people in the world have done horribly evil things, and they will never be caught. And they will pass away knowing that they lived a beautifully lavish life. And you may say, well, God will know their character. To these people, there is no God. What do you say to a person who doesn't care about your religious moral grandstanding? What do you say to those people? They don't care. Well, they'll spend their entire lives burning, so you think punishment for actions you deem as evil is okay. That's what you wish to happen. Kindness isn't good or bad. There was a man a while back, I remember this, who was a very evil and prolifically, disgustingly bad man. I stay in Toledo, by the way. This is very important. Very evil man. Very evil man. He took the life of one of my friends. His name was Isaiah De Leon. Who is Isaiah De Leon? Isaiah De Leon is a former Toledoan who took the life of a man named Logan Green. Why am I bringing this up? This was my roommate. This man was my roommate, right? This man was my roommate. He entered a plea deal. He took out the lives of Logan Green. This man was my roommate. And during the time frame that I knew him, he paid rent on time. He was a great friend to me. He bought me McDonald's. He was very important. He was very kind to me the entire way through. And after, I discovered that he took the life of Logan. That didn't change my opinion on his character at all. He's horrible for taking a life. That was messed up. He did a horrifying thing. I think that's messed up. I think that's bad. I genuinely do. But it didn't change my true opinion on how he operated as a human being. It didn't change my mindset. What had happened was, oh my God, this person who was very kind to me did an evil thing. But he was still kind to me. That's what happened. Because in the real world, that happens. Take me, for example. You guys probably don't know this if you're coming into this video now, but when I was 16, I'm 28 now, I abused my ex. Mentally. I mentally abused my ex. I gave her PTSD because I kept breaking up with her, getting with other women, and then I would beg her to get back with me, and I would just continually do these evil, weird, psychotic behaviors because I was curious if I could do it. I was just curious if I could do it. I didn't really gain anything from it. I was just curious if I could, if I had the strength of character to do it. And then when I was 21, I had another woman 7 years ago who I did primarily the same thing to. Why do I tell you these things? Why do I talk about me previously being an abuser? Because I had no good role models, didn't know any better, but it doesn't excuse the action. That's the reason behind the action. It is not an excuse, and I deserve to be lambasted for that. I deserve to be berated for that. My retribution is letting you know. My retribution is letting you know that I did those evil things. But I've given $10,000 to homeless people. I let somebody stay at my house for 6 months without paying rent when they were homeless. I made sure that I donated and gave and volunteered at soup kitchens. And randomly, just on random Saturdays, I'll go out and pick up trash on highways just for fun. Just for fun. Why do I do these things? Because people aren't just good or evil. Hasanabi isn't just a bad person. He's not. Ethan Piker is just a bad person. He's not. He has deep moralistic views because he has choices that he has to make, and those choices are intimate to him because what he stands for is what will inform others of what he stands against. That's just how humans operate. They view it as only right and wrong, bad and good. And this entire beef that's been going on with the Palestine, Israel, this whole thing, this whole nonsense, this Ethan Klein versus Hasanabi, this nonsense that is happening in the forefront. It disgusts me because people just want to pick a side. People just want to pick wrong or bad or good or bad. They don't want to listen to people. They don't want to have actual conversation. They just want somebody to be wrong, and they just want somebody to be right. In the real world, people aren't right or wrong. A lot of people often say, oh, Trump is bad. The Trump supporters know about the crimes that Trump has done. They know. The Trump supporters know about what he's doing. The Trump supporters know that he doesn't care about the LGBTQ. They know. They grasp it. And they love him for that. Why do they do that? Why do they love him if he's doing what should be considered evil actions? Well, It's because he doesn't care. It's because they don't care. It's because they don't care about the same values that you value. And that's humans. Same way I like pineapples on pizza. I know what you're going to say. These are about human rights, not about food preferences. You always say that. People always say that. To some people, your human rights are about as valuable as food preferences because they don't know you. I want you to understand that. To some people, your human rights, mine too, are about as valuable as food preferences because they don't know you. That is just realistic. That's how humans operate. They don't know you. They don't care. Well, that's somebody's mother. That's somebody's father. That's somebody's dad. That's somebody's... They don't care. They don't. They don't know you. They care about themselves first because humans have to care about themselves first because the world doesn't care about them. That's how most people are raised. And that's a harsh reality of the world. I choose to care about everything and everyone individually because that matters to me. You have to have nuance in your soul and be able to have these very difficult conversations even if you don't agree with them. And I know a lot of people will not agree with me, and I'm so happy about that. A lot of people will comment on my videos saying, oh, I don't agree with your take, but I don't care, and never have. If you agreed with what I say, you're here. I'm happy you're here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for telling me your point of view. I can learn something new from that, and I can grow because of it. And I can take your take and put it onto my initial understanding of how they work. That is why I always approach things from both sides. I refuse to say it from one side. I want to see it from both sides because I want to see why you think that way, and I want to see why I think this way. I want to see why other people think this way. And then you say both sides. I want to see the third side. I want to see the fourth side. I want to see the fifth side. There's millions and millions of ways, and I'll illustrate this with a very simple equation. What is 5 plus 5? That's 10. What's 6 plus 4? That's 10. What's 7 plus 3? That's 10. What's 8 plus 2? That's 10. What's 9 plus 1? That's 10. What's 10 plus 0? Oh, that's 10. We got 5 different solutions there. But we could take it a step further. What's 5.5 plus 4.5? Oh, that's 10. What's 5.6 plus 4 plus 4? Oh, that's 10. You can get to the same end result with many, many, many different equations. You can do that all day, every day. There's millions of outcomes and millions of solutions to the very same exact problem. There are. There's no one right way to do anything. Please understand that. Please. Now then, how do I feel about the Ethan Klein beef with Hasanabi since I've been rambling and ranting for quite some time because that's pretty much basically the entire course of my content? How do I feel about this? I think both suck. I think Hasanabi is a bad person. I think Ethan Klein is a bad person. I think they're both bad people that have done great good in their lives. I think they're nuanced. I think they're humans, is how I feel about the entire situation. I think Hasanabi is too radical and he wants to push this agenda and people misclip him out of content. I think Ethan is too fire off, shot at the mouth, and he gets too emotional. That's how I feel. I think this is stupid. I think this is smart. I think this is a lot. I think. Therefore, I am. This is another drop in the drama beef that will happen with everybody that will distract us from the bigger issues in our lives, that will destroy how human reasoning and think happen among people. This will just be another part of the bigger diaspora, and it will piss me off ever so slightly, because if we just stopped arguing about these worthless little things and focus on the bigger issues, the things that all humans can agree on: world hunger, equal rights for all. Well, we don't agree on that. Let's just say world hunger. Let's say world hunger. Nobody wants to be hungry, right? Let's focus on food. I feel like if everybody was starving, it would fix a lot of the world. I'm angry. Anyways, that's the entire video. I've rambled on enough for this. I have a Patreon if you guys want to support longer content like this. If you made it this far, thank you guys so much for checking out my content. I should probably start putting my Patreon in things. I also have a GoFundMe in the comment pin below because I just got out of a car crash. I no longer have a car. I can't work because I can't stand for long periods of time. You guys probably don't know this. I'm leaning ever so slightly in a hunched position because when I straighten out my back completely, I get a shooting pain down the bottom of my left leg. I'm also not standing currently because I have to figure out a correct way to stand so I don't actively hurt my back. I usually stand in front of a green screen, especially when talking about something like this. But yeah, that's where I'm at the current moment. Thank you guys so much for checking out my content. If you guys want to subscribe or comment or anything of that variety, if you guys want to message me, I have a Discord. That's pretty much the entire premise. These are my closing thoughts about everything. If you guys want to support me in any capacity, I would appreciate it. If you guys don't want to, if you guys want to leave a hate comment and just explain how you don't like my hair or how you don't like my cadence or how you hate the fact that I am a fence sitter, by all means, comment it. I will read them all and I will feel bad about them and I will get over it because I'm human and that's what happens. And I'm big on the internet because that's what happens. I make content on the internet. I have to be ready for everything bad against me. No weapon forged against me shall prosper, but they do prosper because the same receptors that are responsible for physical pain in your brain are the ones responsible for emotional pain. There's no difference between the two. So, yes, I am here for all of it. Thank you so much. I love you and thank you for existing. Please choose kindness. Goodbye.